𝗥𝗵𝗲 show. Thank you for always joining. Thank you for always coming back to listen, learn, and grow. And growth is where it's at. This is what it's all about. As entrepreneurs, we are constant, we are evolving and growing. So we always appreciate you, and we want to give you value as much as possible to improve your life and in business. Today, my amazing co-host Ria, she's going to be taking over the conversation. But before I bring her on, my name is 𝗥𝗵𝗲.
My name is Ria,
and welcome
to
our
show.
Ria, I'm going to
are 3 components to being a good real estate investor, and I'm going to share the 2 components out of the 3 today. So the first component, number 1, is good partners. So good partners is the number 1 of the 3 components of being a good real estate investor. Now, there's a famous quote by Donald Trump. He says, "You cannot do a good deal with bad partners." This is from our President, Donald Trump. Now, second lesson from having a good partner is that partners may put they may just be bad, or they may just be wrong partners for us. Third lesson, for Robert, if you remember, he bought a 300 apartment unit. For Robert's 300 apartment unit, for this project to work, Robert must be sure that he has good partners. Now, in this particular deal, his partners are his wife, Kim, and the property management, which is Ken McElroy and Ross. So those are his partners. Fourth, Robert said that they have done many deals together and have made lots of money. Now, they also run into problems, and that's many problems because they do have a lot of units. And in solving these problems, they became smarter, and they became better partners. The second component of being a good real estate investor is good finance. So first was the partner, having good partners, and second is having good financing. So the first lesson from the good finance is that real estate, according to Robert, is primarily a function of financing. I'll talk about more on that. Second, many people would say the famous three-letter words, and that is location, location, location. And I say that too. Now, Robert would say this three-letter words, and that would be financing, financing, financing. Fourth lesson. So if we as investors have bad financing. Financing means the debt. Then the deal will not work. Now, fifth lesson, if we can secure good financing, then the deal works. Sixth lesson. Let's say the seller, okay, he is asking, so if he has a properties, several units, and he is asking $35 million for it, okay? And this property is $17 million when he initially bought it, and now he wants to sell it for $35 million. So if the seller, let us or Robert finance the $35 million purchase price, so it's seller financing. So if the seller would let us finance the $35 million at $1 per month for 30 years, okay? And there's going to be a balloon, okay? A balloon, let me draw some balloons. A balloon payment, okay? A balloon payment. What that means, it's a one-time big payment. Balloon payment. At the end of the term, so in this case, it was 30 years. So Robert says he would take he would purchase the deal. He would buy it. He would take the deal and give the seller the full asking price of $35 million. Right? Now, Robert says he would do that at $1. Remember the condition is that that's $1 per month. You can afford the $35 million for the $17 million property. Now, lesson number 7, as people say in the world of finance, I will give your price if you will give me my terms. So 8th lesson. Robert says, I know that some of us will think that 35 million is an extremely ridiculous example. And according to Robert, it is not. It is not ridiculous. It is not. 9th lesson. In the world of finance, according to Robert, paying ridiculous price is pretty common. Paying ridiculous price is common in the world of finance. It is often just a matter of the buyer and the seller and their ability to use the power of finance to achieve their goals. So an example, Robert, a few years ago, there was a property, okay, a house with a land, which is just beside his office. It was for sale. This was for sale. Oops. This was for sale. Now, the broker, he called his broker, and the broker said that the asking price for this piece of land, for this piece of property with dirt, is $2 million. And Robert, he laughed. So Robert laughed and said, he is joking, right? He's joking. Because Robert thought that the value is only of the value of this building and this land is only worth $750,000. Now, fast forward to today, okay, this piece of building with land, there is a major hotel chain that bought this, and they're putting, so they bought it, right? And they're putting a flagship, so a hotel, a flagship on this property, that same property with the dirt. They're tearing this off, this old land, and they're building skyscrapers of hotels. Okay. And Robert passed on this opportunity. And what he said is, Robert, do not know the price of this. Well, the building is gone, but there's this dirt, the price of this dirt today. But he says, definitely today, it is worth more than, symbol of more than, $2 million. And why $2 million? Because if you remember, this piece of building with land was, the seller was asking $2 million back then, 16. As his friend, 𝗥𝗵𝗲 says, the person with a better plan wins. So Robert, let's put that into context. Robert thought that piece of land was only worth $750,000, whereas the hotel chain owner, paid for $2 million. So this is what it means. The person with a better plan wins, because now this hotel chain, remember this drawing, he knocked this out and is building his skyscraper flagship. So now today, this is worth more than $2 million. So this is the value that you see, that we see, that I see. 13th lesson. And according to Robert, and as Donald Trump would say, think big. Now, according to Robert, he would say every time every time that he thinks about this property, right? He thinks about this property. Robert would say, think bigger. Think bigger. Components to being a good real estate investor. Today, I'll be sharing 2 of the components out of the 3. The first are good partner. That's one of the components to being a good real estate investor. Now, there's a famous quote by Donald Trump, and he says, you, I, we cannot do a good deal with bad partners. Second, either they may just be bad, or the partner is the wrong partner for us. Third, for Robert's 300 apartment units project to work, Robert must be sure of the good partners. So his partners are his wife, Kim, and the property management assets, who are Ken and Ross. Fourth lesson, Robert says they have many deals together and have made money. They also run into many problems, and it is running into many problems and solving these problems that they became smarter and became better partners. So my lesson is there's always going to be problems. Okay, problems. It's how we tackle them that would make us smart and become better partners. Second component of being a good real estate investor is good financing. First lesson, real estate is primarily a function of financing. Second, many people would say the 3 famous quotes, location, location, location. According to Robert would say it's the 3-letter F, which is financing, financing, financing. And I'll talk more about it. So he says, if we have bad financing, the deal will never work. It will not work. Now, if we can secure good financing, then the deal works. 6, example, a seller is selling his property. He's asking for $35 million on an asset he bought several years back for $17 million. Now he's selling it for $35 million. So if the seller would let us finance the $35 million purchase price, so this is seller financing, at $1 per month for 30 years, and a balloon payment at the end of the term, which is 30 years, Robert would say he would take the deal and give the seller the asking price of $35 million at $1 per month. Robert says you can afford the $35 million for the property that he bought for $17 million before. Robert says, as they say in the world of finance, I will give you your asking price if you will give me my terms. 8th lesson. I know some of us will think that the $35 million an extremely ridiculous example. However, Robert says it is not. In the world of finance, paying ridiculous price is pretty common. 10th lesson, it is often just a matter of the buyer, matter of the seller, and their ability to use the power of finance to achieve their goals. 11th lesson, this is an example that Robert, a few years ago, beside his office, there was a property, a building, and a lot for sale. He called his broker and the broker said, the seller is asking for $2 million on the building and the lot beside your property, Robert. Robert laughed and he said, "You're joking, right?" He's joking. Robert thought that the value of this property, the building, and the dirt is only worth $750,000 at that time. Fast forward to today. This building and this dirt was bought by a major hotel chain. And they're putting a flagship on this property. So this building that was there is gone. And now there's skyscrapers of hotel on this lot. So goodbye, old house. Hello to new hotel. So Robert's value of $750,000 at that price was actually low if he saw the value. And he says today it is worth more than $2 million today. Why? Because this piece of land that was bought by the flagship, the hotel chain, they'd made a hotel. So that's why Robert says this is definitely more than $2 million today. It is not worth $750,000 that he thought of, and it's not worth $2 million, which was sold several years ago. Lesson number 16. As his friend Ken McElroy would say, it is the person with a better plan wins. So for Robert, he thought the dirt was only $750,000. This building with a piece of land. Now the hotel chain, they saw different value. So they thought that $2 million is cheap. Why? They knocked down this building, this house, and they made their flagship hotel on this lot. So today it is worth more than $2 million. So the lesson I learned here is, what value do we see in a property? 13th lesson. And as Donald Trump would say, think big. Now Robert, every time that he passed by beside his office, this piece of land with hotel chain, this reminds him, and this would make him say, think bigger, think bigger. So those are my lessons learned from today's topic, the 3 components of being a good real estate investor.
Thank you. Amazing. Amazing. Absolutely. You know, think bigger. Just want to quickly share with you. I was talking to someone over the past weekend, but anyhow, I'm just going to talk to Ria. Thank you. Really appreciate that. But anyway, thank you for always tuning in. Thank you for always, being with us, because we always want to share amazing value to you so that you can grow and learn in your life and in business. So that's absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. Stay tuned.